One of the interesting characteristics of the Solomon Wine Company is even though we're a small 5,000 case winery, we produce three very different and distinct brands of wine. Reason we do that is because every wine has its own personality and every wine has its own distinctive style. Because, believe it or not everybody likes the same wine, and we try to make it easier for people buying our wines to tell the difference. So we start with our Muse wines. This is our everyday drinking wine. They're styled to be light, fruit forward, easy to drink, short finish that really work very well with and without food, and is just a very easy to drink wine. There's a little bit of residual sugar in these wines, but just a trace amount, so they don't taste sweet. They just taste incredibly rich and drinkable. Okay, Nancy, let's start our discussion with the Muse wines. Again, these are our light, fun, easy to drink wines. We have three wines in the Muse line, a white wine blend called Genie, or a Genie if you look at the label literally, because there is a little accent on E. Mingle is our red wine blend, so it's mingling of a select group of grapes, and it's also the best wine to drink when mingling with friends and family. It's like the perfect name for a wine. Our newest wine in the Cloud 9 wine is called Carnival, and that has been, since the day we released it, our biggest selling wine at retail as well as in the tasting room. It is a distinctive red wine sangria that is actually patterned on a house-made sangria at a tapas restaurant in Modesto, California, and is distinctive because it is essentially 99.9% real wine. So the natural flavorings in here amount to less than 0.1% of the volume of the wine. And now we're going to defer to Nancy, who will start out with Genie and talk about a little bit about the sensory characteristics that she notices in our everyday drinking Genie.
Well, Genie is a blend of 5 different white wines, and principally what you'll probably notice is the Muscat Canelli and the Trebbiano, which lend it just a great floral, fresh fruit character. And it's lightly sweet, as Rich mentioned, so very easy to drink. And I think the perfect descriptor for these 3 wines is they're quaffing wines. Just drink and enjoy them. If you go on to our Mingle, again, it's a blend, and it's easy to drink. It's soft. It does have a bit of sweetness, but not very noticeable on the palate. You go on to our Carnival, the red wine sangria, and it's a classic. It has that pineapple and orange flavoring with a bit of rum in there, and it's definitely a little sweeter than just lightly sweet. But again, it's our most popular of the Mingle of the Muse wines in our tasting room.
At the opposite end of the wine spectrum is our elegant and sophisticated Cloud 9 wines. These are probably our best known line of wines. They are the wines that incorporate our finest grape supplies, our finest barrels, and basically our finest packaging. It is everything that we can do best in a wine. And the focus of this brand is very simply to showcase the best of the winemaker's art. There are 3 items in this line as well. Composition, which is the distinctive red wine blend. It's unique because it's a cross-regional blend, which Nancy will explain. Siete, which is a real word. If you look it up in Webster's Unabridged, you'll find that it means singular, which fits because it's a Zinfandel, and one of a kind, which also fits because it comes from the oldest certified Zinfandel vineyard in California. Our newest addition to the Cloud 9 is our little baby. You can tell from the bottle size. This is actually a dessert wine, a ruby-style dessert wine made in the Portuguese port tradition that we call a rapport. Okay, from a descriptive standpoint, composition, Nancy?
Composition is definitely a composition. It's a blend of 5 varieties, and as Rich mentioned, it's cross-regional. So we have Tempranillo from Calaveras County. We have Cabernet Sauvignon from Sonoma County. We have Syrah from Rich.
I think that is from El Dorado.
El Dorado County, okay. Barbera from Amador County, and the Petit Verdot is from Napa, I believe. Yes. And so we just choose, when we put together composition, we choose the best of the best. We have an idea of what we want, and we search out the best fruit. It's so fun from the winemaker's point of view because we're picking the best barrels, the best lots, and we can really do whatever we want with the wines as long as we get to the end result of just a supremely age-worthy, drinkable, blend that, as you'll taste when you buy the wine, is delicious. We go on to our CED, which is Zinfandel. And this is Zinfandel from Vineyard 1869. And it is the oldest vineyard in California. And as we were talking about the Sierra foothills and concentration and minerality and terroir, this is the epitome of that. It's an old vineyard, and it gets very low tons per acre. It's very hard to come by, and every year is a different year. And I think you'll find the 06 is unique, very chocolate. Chocolate description of chocolate and dark chocolate, espresso beans, I think sometimes, and that is unique to this vineyard 1869. We get that every year, and it's fun to follow it through all the different vintages we've made of the CED.
Okay, on to the final wine report, which I'll talk about because I was actually the one to put this particular blend together. Again, this is a ruby-styled port that is made with all classic Portuguese port varietals. What we did differently about this wine, however, was we reversed the order of the grapes from what traditional Portuguese ports have. Normally the foundation of a Portuguese port would be Tinta Madeira. We produced this primarily with Sazao. So instead of getting the port raisiny character in the front palate, you're actually met with very solid blackberry jam with the supporting characteristics of molasses. Our third brand is our most limited brand, and it is named Garsa. Mediterranean sounding name because this brand focuses on the Mediterranean grapes of the Sierra foothills. These wines are very limited because they're available only in the tasting room or online at the Solomon website or right here at AmericanWinery.com. These are grapes that a lot of people have never heard of because they don't grow well in the other growing regions of California such as Napa and Sonoma, but because of the soil, because of the altitude, and because of the climate of Sierra foothills vineyards, these wines are just very well suited to the particular growing conditions here. So instead of wines like Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot and Chardonnay, we have varietals such as Grenache, such as Sangiovese, such as Tempranillo, and whites like Roussanne and Viognier and Albarino. We're going to highlight just three of our ever-expanding array of Garsa wines. Again, these focus on the Mediterranean grapes of the Sierra foothills. So this is our adventure brand for those that want to get out and try something new and maybe find a white wine that they'll like better than the Chardonnay they're used to, or red wine that they'll like better than their Cabernet. This is the brand to start. And that white wine, our alternative to Chardonnay, that complete with barrel aging, is a Roussanne. Nancy?
Roussanne is a Rhone variety, and it's hard to come by in California. And the Sierra foothills definitely, Sierra foothills has kind of chosen some of the Rhone varieties as something to focus on because it's they're not grown in other places of California, and we can get a little marketing from that, and they grow beautifully in the foothills. Our Roussanne is, as Rich said, it's barrel aged. We age it for 6-9 months on the lees. It's got a full body, lots of pear and honey aromas and flavors with a little herbal tinge to it. Very unique and delicious.
And our one and only, since this vineyard, after we harvest this vineyard, was grafted over to Syrah, which I was not depressed about until I tasted the wine after it was bottled, and that is our El Dorado Grenache. Nancy?
It is El Dorado, and we don't just get Grenache from this vineyard. We also get Syrah for our Cloud 9 wines. But the Grenache, again, as Rich said, it no longer exists, unfortunately. It was fun to work with. It's a beautiful variety. Hopefully we'll be working with it again in the future. Really bright, fresh fruit character. A little on the lighter style, which is nice. I'm not sure it's under 14% alcohol, but it's close. Easy to drink. Again, fresh fruit with a little spice to it.
And I would only add to that if you are interested in trying this delectable Fruit Hills Grenache, you'd better act quickly because we only managed to produce 78 cases of it, and it is moving quickly with a recent release here in the tasting room. Finally, we have our Calaveras own signature grape, which is Tempranillo. Royal red grape of Spain, but from here in the Sierra foothills. Nancy, what does it do?
Tempranillo actually is a lot different. As Rich said, it's from Spain, and it can tend to be fairly tannic. So we work with that. We give it extra barrel age. We have a little secret ingredient, a dash of Muscat Canelli to help soften it, bring out the extra fruit and floral flavors. But it's a darker red wine with more of the blackberry, black cherry, and darker black pepper characteristics.